Computer. We're starting. Okay, so welcome to the meeting. If everybody, let me know if you have any audio issues. We're using the best mic that we can. We're going to go around the room first, and then we'll go on to the online students and do introductions. You're going to tell us your first and last name, your major, and why you chose this class. First, we're going to start with Meredith. Meredith is your client, and you're not taking the class, but tell us about why you chose to be a client, what you're overall hoping to get from the students in this class.
So my name is Meredith Maple. I'm the director of the Fairbanks Children's Museum. I heard about this maybe the middle of the summer, about this opportunity to kind of submit ourselves for some help. We have a small team. There's 8 of us. Only 2 of us actually work in any administrative capacity or in the office. So all of social media, marketing, everything falls on our shoulders, and neither of us are trained in that. My background's history, her background's early childhood education. So we're looking for help.
All right, so let's go around the room. First name, last name, major, and why you took this class.
My name is Benjamin Karstens. I am an MBA student in business administration, and I took this class because I like social media, but I wasn't entirely sure how to use it. But I've been learning a lot through reading chapters and going through it. But I also want to learn how to have a better presence on social media. So.
Thank you.
My name is Mary Scheffler, and I'm also majoring in business administration. And I took this class because I was really interested in marketing, and I wanted to learn more about how marketing is done on social media, because I find it really interesting to see like what businesses post and why they post it. So that's my reason. I'm Megan Heineken. I'm also a business major. I took this class because my job, I post ads onto social media to try to get new tenants for my apartment buildings. And so I figured this would be super helpful for like the small business that I work for. So.
Thank you. And Patty, TA Patty's in the house. So TA, Patty, do you want to say anything to the class?
That I think these are 2 very good clients, and I'm excited to learn and help you guys and see what you come up with.
All right, let's go one by one. Nate, you want to unmute and talk to us about your name, your major, and why you took this class and where you're calling from?
Absolutely. My name is Nate Swartz. As Tammy said, I am an accounting student at UAS, my 2nd semester. I'm calling from Baracaldo, Spain. Currently is where my wife and I live right now. And I took this social media class because my wife and I have been doing a lot of social media and developing our brand, being adventurous with the budget. So that's why we're in Spain. So when Tammy mentioned the class was last semester, I was super excited to learn more and kind of see what kind of compare where our knowledge is at right now. So that's kind of why I took this class and who I am.
And Nate, really quick, can you do a shout out to your YouTube channel so those who want to can follow and see what you and your wife are doing?
Absolutely. It's all Swartz of Adventure. Swartz just like my last name, and adventure like it's normally spelled.
All right, thanks Nate. Go ahead and mute. And Tressica, are you able to check in and tell us first, last name, why you took the class, your major, and where you're calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from, I'm actually in Fort Hood right now, but I live in Houston. I'm taking a bachelor's of business administration, and I thought this class would help me separate. I plan on owning my own architect firm, so I thought this class would help me separate my firm from many of the other firms.
All right, thank you. Kaylin, it's your turn. Go ahead and unmute.
Okay, sorry. I'm Kaylin Gray, and I'm also a business admin major, and I'm calling from Fort Riley, Kansas. We just had a nice little tornado warning. And I took this class because I really just like marketing, and I wanted to learn more about it, really. So it sounded fun.
All right, well, we've got some very interesting online presence here today. Thank you for driving and calling from Spain and checking in why there's a tornado warning. Amanda, go ahead and unmute and tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Amanda Solomon. I'm from Fairbanks, but I'm currently in upstate New York taking this class. I'm majoring in business administration, and I'm wanting to learn more about marketing since that's what I want to get into and advertising. So this class, I believe, would be really great in helping me get there.
Thank you, Amanda. And Laura, welcome. I'm glad you made it. Go ahead and unmute. We're doing first, last name, major, and why you took the class.
Okay, hi, I'm Laura Barber. My majors are German and business administration, and I'm taking the class to gain some more practical knowledge about marketing.
All right, thank you. Thank you all so much. All right, we want to get to the questions for the client. If you are able to have the questions pulled up on your phone or on the computer, that would be great. Before we get there, I want to, let's see here, let you know these sort of things. There's a summary due, so as a team, so the blue team is Kaylin, Megan, Mary, and Nate. The yellow team, Megan, Laura, Ben, Tressica, and Amanda. So as a team, you have 5 days to write a summary of this client interview today. And again, this is just helping you learn in a different manner. Sometimes you learn by listening and interacting, but also doing the summary. Make sure that the team understands you all have that collective move in the same direction as you are getting ready to write the plan. You're getting closer and closer as the weeks go by here. So the summary will be due, and I'm recording this. Hopefully it all goes well, and you can always refer back to it. The social media plan is due on October 27th. It is to be a finished product. The way it works in real life is that if you have this long 15-week project that your boss asks for, and he or she says, and I want to see the first version on a month before it's due, you give us your best content. Couple of reasons why I want to do this. I want to avoid the last minute rush of the semester when you have all these finals due and all these plans due. And secondly, in real life, what happens is that you get feedback. You're going to get feedback from myself, from TA Patty, and from your client, so that these plans are the best that they can be. That means we don't want to be grading like basic outlines or content that's not ready. It needs to be as ready and as polished and as beautiful as you can get it. Then that's the bulk of your work. You're done. Then all you'll have is some simple revisions to do, and you'll be free for the rest of the semester to work on other classes. So that's due on October 27th. For Meredith, I'm going to share with you, they are posting this week, doing a video post about a quick how to engage better on Facebook assessment, and they have to be quick to post, and once something's been said, they can't say it again. And they're giving specific examples. So we're like going to tease you about what's to come. And they also had discussion boards. They're doing discussion boards every week. And so they had something due where they compiled all the past 4 weeks. And again, that will give you a peek into what they've been sort of working on as a team. And I'll give those to you. No homework for you yet. And then I want you as teams to discuss site visit options and what you're going to do for all of you that are somewhere else. And if you want to address Meredith to kick us off, when is the best time? And when are times they can't visit in the next 2 weeks because you have programs going on or children and they can't take pictures. So what do you suggest for them for site visits?
We're actually pretty open. We're open 6 days a week, and Monday's the one day we're closed, but I'm there. Although you wouldn't get to see anything like in action. I really am pretty open. If you just give me a heads up, that way if I'm not there, I can just make sure that somebody is there and ready to show you around, answer any questions you have in person. Yeah. We're open 9 to 5:30. Well, we're open 10 to 5. We're there 9 to 5:30 every day though. So large window.
All right, so the tricky part will be how to get everybody there at the same time if possible, but you would never work with a client without seeing the site, right? It's very difficult to post about Fairbanks Children's Museum if you haven't been there. So Zoom is a tool that is available to students. You guys have all kinds of, Skype, FaceTime, whatever it takes to make it happen. So site visit, please, in the next 2 weeks, because you can't write a report without seeing a site visit. All right, we're going to start around the room. Ben's going to take question 1 and ask Meredith, and we're going to get going.
All All right. So what do your customers say about your social media presence? And do they ask for different platforms, or do they like the ones you currently use?
So our customers really like our Facebook presence, specifically because it's how they find out all of the things we do. They go on there to see events. We have special events constantly. We have concerts, programming during the day, kids night in where we watch the kids in the evenings. We do summer camps. There's just always something going on, and it's all on Facebook. That's our go-to platform. We post there more religiously than even our website. People comment on that pretty positively, that they know they can get there and gather all the information. Instagram, we've been using pretty solidly now for a couple years, and people are still getting on that bandwagon slowly. And I hear more positive feedback about Instagram than anything else, but it's not really, you don't get any important content there. It's just photos. We haven't really advertised on there. I think I've boosted one post ever. It's really just pictures of fun things going on in the museum. So I haven't been asked for other social media platforms. That is something that we are interested in. I do recognize that by only using Facebook, I'm choosing an age group and leaving a large percentage, especially of young new parents, out. And even as I hire people, I look at their Facebook profiles before I give them a job offer. And we've been finding that lots of people that are applying for jobs now don't even have a Facebook, or have one that I can't find, but that a lot of them genuinely don't. So I don't want to lose out. If that's the only place where everything's going, I don't want to start losing out on communicating information to our target populations. So.
I would add, Fairbanks Children's Museum is putting themselves in a vulnerable position. What if Facebook isn't king forever? And certainly one day it won't be. And then you've got this learning curve because you don't have A and B, Instagram and whatever, to rely upon.
I think about that on a weekly basis.
All right, online, raise your hand, please, if you have access to the questions in front of you. 1, 2, 3. All right, Nate, go ahead and ask question 2, please unmute.
Hi there, Meredith. Okie dokie. So, what social media sites would you like to have a bigger following on? And with that, what social media platforms are you not currently using? You mentioned you're open to using other platforms. What other platforms do you have an idea you'd like to use, if you have any?
So right now, out of what we are using, I would like to see us have a better following on Instagram. It's mostly, I know, I post something and I'll click through to see who's liked it, and oftentimes I notice that it's my friends, they follow it because they know that I'm on there a lot. So I'd like to grow that audience. In terms of what we're not currently using that we would like to, Snapchat is something that is completely outside of my comfort zone or understanding, but I know I go to different conferences for museums, and everything from art museums to children's museums actively use Snapchat now, which that blows my mind. I don't even know what they might post or how they would use it, but I don't want to, get lost behind the times and be struggling to catch up. So that's one that's on my radar, but there's nothing I have written off. That's just the only one I'm particularly aware of other museums using that I'd be really open to.
Do you know if they're using Pinterest at all?
I don't. I know that we have a Pinterest account that has not been touched in a very, very long time. That's one that I don't actually understand I know how people use Pinterest to have their ideas accessible, and I don't know how that's actually used in a social media context. So definitely something to put there.
All right, let me just add, the client has an interest, Meredith has an interest in Snapchat, so you have to decide and research as a team, is that the best, because a lot of people are using it, because other museums are using it, is it the best tool for her? And maybe, it may not be. So that's one of the tasks to write down. I think we can say it's a given, Facebook and Instagram. So that third one's gonna be your trick. right, let's go back to the room and we'll have Mary ask question 3, please.
So what are some of the challenges you find in marketing on Facebook and Instagram? And is there a specific issue you find difficulty with on each platform?
On Facebook, one of the things we run into very consistently, we use it to post our events, and some events have 0 interest on Facebook, nobody's interacting with them, and then 90 people show up to the museum, and sometimes 180 people say they're interested in an event and 20 show up to the museum. So figuring out, I mean, that's a really big question mark. I'm not sure where the disconnect is, but it's certainly something where we're trying to use it to market events, but we're not able to then use the data we're getting productively. So I'd say that what that really breaks down to is our challenge is adequately advertising events so that we can have reliable return on what we're pushing out to the public.
Anything on Instagram?
We haven't used it in that way yet. So Instagram right now, really cute scenes and pictures of cute kids get lots of likes. And so we've gotten a pretty solid idea based off our existing group of followers, what kinds of posts get pretty solid engagement, but we're not using those. I mean, we're using those for, I guess, kind of brand recognition as opposed to anything else, because we're not pushing anything we're selling. We're not pushing any events that we want people to come to. It's really just this, hey, here's more, these are photos of the things that we have going on, which is in and of itself advertising, but it's a really different method than what we do on Facebook.
And do you know if you have an Instagram for business page?
We do.
Okay.
It is a business page, yes.
Okay. All right, let's go online. And Tressica, do you want to take question 4? Go ahead and unmute.
All right, I'm back. So what are some of the main reasons you want people to visit your social media sites?
We want people to visit our social media sites so that they will come to the museum. We don't profit, nobody benefits unless they actually show up to the museum. So we want them to either use it to purchase memberships, purchase birthday parties, or use it to find out to show up to an event or just to visit the museum in general.
What about encouraging engagement or posting their own content?
Yeah.
Some of the other reasons people might use social media.
We've been trying to start that process lately. We got, at the last Children's Museum conference, we were learning that that polls and that sort of thing, those sorts of posting questions, seem to be our response. So we've started trying to do that. We had a little kids dance party, so we started posting, what are your kids' favorite songs right now? What are they listening to in the car? That tons of people really enjoyed responding to that. We just got a pet tarantula and posted a picture and let the public decide what we were going to name it. That's cute. That was really, people were really into that. So we are definitely open to that. It's one of those things, though, that is always sort of an afterthought. These aren't planned posts. We're thinking like, oh, we need to give the DJ a song list. Let's ask Facebook. Spider needs a name. Let's ask the public. So there's not a lot of intention there. So we could afford to have some guidance on how to make that engagement a little more intentional.
All right, go ahead and mute out, Tressica. Thank you. So I do want them to think about other reasons for going on the Facebook page, because think about any other brand that you go to and it's come, 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 buy, buy, buy. What do? We turn off, right? But if it's fun and it's storytelling and it's jokes and it's naming the tarantula or asking for the song, then it's fun. Mm-hmm. And then they're used to your site and you get up on the feed with the algorithm and all that stuff. So just thinking of some other ways we can get, because it's obvious you want people to come to the museum. Yeah. But what other ways can you use these tools? I think we want the team to think about. Awesome. All right, so let's go back to the room and Megan, number 5.
What are some things that make Fairbanks Children's Museum stand out on social media?
That's a hard one. I think our brand is really consistent. I notice in Fairbanks, on our business Facebook page and on my personal one, I follow a lot of local businesses, and I notice a lot of like photographs of flyers that are posted instead of just posting an actual PDF. And inconsistencies. Our brand is consistent. Our images are, everything's clean, everything's simple, and I think that it's pretty easy to recognize a children's museum post, even if you don't see who posted it. That is specifically on Facebook. On Instagram, I wouldn't say so much the same because it's photographs as opposed to flyers and images that somebody's created in Canva. I think that does go a long way, especially just in Fairbanks. It seems like a lot of Facebook presences for businesses up here kind of haphazard. And I don't think ours is. There are some things that could use a lot more intention, but everything that is, we're not throwing things onto the internet for public consumption that aren't edited and intentionally like what we're trying to put forward. I guess I did say that's intentional and lack of intention. The lack of intention there is covering different topics, but the actual images that are going out there are the intentional, consistent piece.
And really quick, before we move on, and we'll ask Kaylin to ask next question. You mentioned Canva. Is that a subscription service that the museum has, and that's what you use?
So Canva is like InDesign Lite on the internet, and it's free for nonprofits. Well, one version of it's free for nonprofits. So that's what we use to design everything. We used to have a communications director that used InDesign and other programs, but he's gone, and so the subscription's gone with him because I don't know how to use it, and there's a free option.
So check that out. We just started using it for school management. Is why I was like,
oh yeah,
what? Canva?
Yeah. I think it's like all the nonprofits in town because we all kind of share employees, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm familiar with Canva. That's an easy one. So,
all right, Kaylin, go ahead and unmute, and you have question 6.
What is the most common compliment you hear from customers?
That we know them. The most common positive feedback we get are, whether it's in reviews that are posted or face-to-face feedback, or that people are happy that when they come in the museum, even our brand new staff, like immediately start making these connections and remember people when they walk in. They might not know your kid's name, but they know that you have a standing membership, or they're faking it, which is fine. But that's something that we get a lot of positive feedback on.
So it sounds like people feel welcomed and appreciated at the museum.
And I think it's like kind of that we're replicating that we all here in Fairbanks live in these small communities, a small community that there's not a lot of degrees of separation, and that even applies when they come to the museum.
All right, so let's go ahead with Amanda. Do you want to take question 7, please? Go ahead and unmute.
What is the most common complaint that you hear from customers?
Our price. We charge per person for daily admission. People think our membership rates are great, but people complain about our daily admission. It's $8 per person. Nobody seems to have a complaint about that being the charge for their child, but adults don't want to pay for themselves. So a message that we're always trying to make very clear is that we're a nonprofit. Nobody is taking your $8 and living some wonderful life because of it, that every single penny is going back into the programming that we're providing for your family. It's a hard message to get across. So yeah, cost is the big complaint, and it's because there's an education gap. There's this gap of people understanding that we even are a nonprofit, how museums work, how nonprofits work. That, okay, I hear you're a nonprofit, but I don't know that you're not taking home $100,000 a year. So there's a big gap there that we are constantly. I just had a customer come in on Saturday when I wasn't there, and like berate my 18-year-old employees, saying that charging for adults was illegal, which I'm not sure what laws they thought I was breaking, but they really believed it and were very angry and left the museum with their kids with them and didn't let their kids play at the museum because they thought that the $8 charge for the adult was just preposterous. So we face that a lot.
Wow, I'm not too sure what to do about that one.
Yeah.
I have to give that one some thought.
Yeah.
And what messaging. Okay, so Laura, you want to take unmute and thank you very much, Amanda. Laura, if you'll unmute and take question 8, please.
So what do you do when a negative comment is posted?
It depends. So on Facebook, we very rarely, that's not the place we usually see negative comments. Google reviews is where we see negative comments a lot. It's more anonymous. People like to be nasty when it's not their public profile associated with it. There have been a few circumstances where we have had negative feedback on Facebook, and with the way Facebook reviews are now, you're kind of helpless. But so we'll respond directly. That you can't really respond in a public forum. You can only respond in a private forum, which doesn't change the review. It doesn't publicly defend you. And it's pretty much impossible to get anything taken off. There's some reviews that are clearly for the wrong business, and I report them and they just stay. On Google too. There's one that's about a barbecue restaurant. That's not my business. But on Facebook, we'll respond directly, which I'm only aware of 2 instances where that really happened, where somebody was calling out an employee.
Directly, do you mean publicly on Facebook or privately?
Publicly on Facebook. Okay. A public review it was about me, talking to my husband that they misgendered as a woman, and there was clearly some homophobic undertones to this very public comment about how the staff should be more appropriate. It was very weird. So at the time I was not the director. My predecessor responded to it directly saying, I'm not entirely sure the situation that you're talking about. Apologized that they had a negative experience, but kind of explained what she believed must have been going on. And then, so the thing where we see the negative comments more often is on Google, and we respond. It depends on if there's any words with it. If somebody just gives us a 2-star review, I don't respond. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but I don't. If somebody gives us anything below 5 stars, or maybe more consistently below 4 stars, and they have any comment with it, then I respond and I acknowledge their complaint. The most recent one, somebody said they liked the museum, but they said that it was really dirty, which is something that it's like what my staff does all day long is they clean all day. They sanitize, but she posted this in the middle of the summer when we had summer camps going on and things were pretty chaotic. So I acknowledged that. I responded publicly on the Google reviews that I really apologize that our museum didn't meet her standards, that we really strive to be very sanitary and very clean, and that I hope she'll come back and that the next time she's in, she finds, our cleanliness standards to meet her needs and her expectations. She didn't respond. My hope is that she will come back in. Google reviews are really easy to edit. So my hope is that she'll come back in and see us at our best and adjust that. I think she gave us 3 stars, which sucks. 3's not good. We want 5 all the time. So.
All right, it sounds like the Children's Museum is doing a great job of assessing what they can or answering what they can. You'll never get all 5 stars.
Right.
So it's great that at least people who give 3 or whatever are telling you what it is. That's just their opinion. And it can say, are we being clean enough, or are we, being inclusive enough, or whatever the things are. But I think that you're doing a great job. Maybe show pictures of people cleaning just for fun. Like, oh, spring is coming or winter's coming. Look at us clean today or something. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a really good idea, actually.
Well, that's why we're here. Okay, so number 10, we'll go back to the room, and then after the room will be Nate again. So 10 for Ben, 11 for Nate. So Ben in the number 9. 9 for Ben, 10 for Nate.
All right. How much time is Fairbanks Children's Museum able to contribute to the social media marketing plan every week?
A lot, actually.
Because it does require like constantly updating.
Yeah.
all the time.
So right now, our education and outreach director, who's on that video at the beginning of the semester, but is out of town right now, she already spends a lot of time. A lot isn't very helpful. I'd
8
say
hours?
at the
4 hours?
at the very least an hour a day. And that includes, creating content to put there. But because we do everything on Facebook, she's constantly creating things for Facebook. In her absence today, I had to try to create a Facebook post, and it was a disaster. But so I would say at the very least an hour a day. And I think that time would be used a lot more efficiently if we actually had a plan. If there were, if she had boxes to check that I need. We found that just photos of kids with quotes like Fred Rogers quotes, people love them. They love to see like a quote about learning and playing with a cute face. So we know to do those every once in a while, but if we had a list of like where we should be posting our events, how frequently we should be posting, behind the scenes of us cleaning. I'm gonna take that back immediately. But if we had a better kind of plan of when to post things and what kind of things we should be creating, I think she'd be able to take that hour, maybe 2 hours a day, and really, make better use of that time.
Excellent. All right, Nate, go ahead and unmute, and we're on number 10, is that right? Number 10, please.
That is correct. Awesome. Okay, Meredith. So how much money would you say Fairbanks Children's Museum is willing to spend on advertising, boosting ads and such on social platforms? And then if I could caveat on that, how much you're already spending on any other, whether it's Canva or like your email responder and things like that, just to see what else you're using.
So we mostly use free things. So our email service that we use Vertical Response, and they have a free version for nonprofits. It's pretty basic. We don't get a lot of emails. We're not allowed to send out to that many people, which isn't the end of the world. It covers what we need to do. So I just submitted a grant application today that had to lay out what our intended advertising budget is for the year. And it's like pie in the sky what we dream of having, which is about $10,000 for the year. And that covers everything. That's covering TV, radio, Facebook. We broke down social media to about $1,000. So I would say that would average out, it doesn't actually average out to $100 a month, but there are a couple of months where we're so focused. We just had a big fundraiser, and that advertising campaign, that's different money. So it absorbs all of our time. So there's at least a month or so tucked in, which isn't good, where that kind of falls by the wayside, but it's due to lack of staff. So I'd say about $100 a month is what realistically we could be funneling into social media marketing.
So not bad. $100 a month can get you a long way with, $5, $25 boosts and posts, and 5 hours a week is pretty good. So you're off to a good start.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Does that budget include paying employees to spending time on that?
No, that's separate from, because it is just the one employee, and that's included in her outreach part of her title. So yeah.
All right, we're gonna go Mary and then Tressica. So Mary has question 11, and then Tressica, you'll have question 12.
Okay, so what is the process of asking customers to become a member or signing up for an e-newsletter?
So in terms of being a member, you're getting a membership to the museum, which gives you unlimited access. That process happens online on our website or in person, primarily in person. It's pretty much only done online when it's like grandparents out of state buying a membership for their grandkids or something comparable to that. In terms of getting signed up for the e-newsletter, it's on a footer on our website that was just fixed. We just discovered I have a new development associate that was just going through our website, checking things out, and realized that it was just this weird floating box that didn't say what it was. I have no idea how long it's been like that, but so for some undetermined amount of time, if you had wanted to sign up for our newsletter, you wouldn't have been able to unless you came into the museum and asked me to do it, which some people do. But other than that, anybody that gets a membership, we collect email addresses and sign them up automatically. So now you can sign up very easily on the website, or whenever you get a membership, you're then added to the e-newsletter list of subscribers.
Can I follow up? Is this the vertical response? Is that your management, email management?
Mm-hmm.
And how many subscribers do you have?
2,500.
And you're saying that I can only send out to a limited amount. What does that mean?
We haven't hit that yet. So it's a limited number of emails. So it can, if I had 500 people, I could just only send out so many emails. Because we have 2,500.
Oh, I see. The bigger the list, the more emails you get.
The fewer.
Oh.
Well, it's emails, period. So you can send out I don't know what the number actually is right now, but let's say it was that I could send out 10,000 emails total, but that's to each subscriber. So if I have 25,000 or 25,000 subscribers, 2,500 people, then I can send out 4 emails a month, essentially.
Okay. All right, so the team may want to consider as an alternative to, not saying it, I don't know, you guys have to do the research, to Snapchat, is maybe they up their game on their email and you give them some email, some ideas about that as well.
I do not like vertical response, for the record. It's a really easy.
But there's constant contact and what's the other one? Something that's similar to it, like a monkey or gorilla or something.
What is we use that one
chip mail.
Yeah, if we hit our limit, that's what we have an account there, and we'll go.
Maybe you find a sponsor, a donor to pay for it for you.
Yeah, people like paying for things.
Yeah. Okay, so we said, Tressica, you have question 12.
Okay, so how is the museum evaluating the success of each platform?
We aren't. So really, we aren't. I don't know. It's a combination of us not knowing how to, and well, I guess that's really all it is. It's not knowing how to. We have the time. We have people that are plenty smart enough to do it. We don't know how. I think that there's the other daunting thing is if we did know how to evaluate, we don't know what we'd then do with that information. With the website, we can check open rates, we can check unsubscribe rates, but there's this translation of what does that mean for us. If our click whatever open rates are really low, does it mean we stop sending the emails? Does it mean we send different emails? Is this just the nature of the game that people aren't opening these email newsletters very frequently? I know I don't. I get them from tons of local places, including the Museum of the North, and I don't open it. So we are not evaluating our success on any of the platforms, and we certainly could learn how to do that.
Right, so definitely the Google Insights, the Facebook Insights. Do you ever use the Facebook Insights?
Not the Facebook Insights. I do look at the Google Insights because they send me an email that always looks like a bill, so I open it and see what our click rates are. I can't remember the words for it, but like the intentional people go directly to our site, or I can't remember the other word.
Yeah, where
it's not like it's a natural progression. They weren't searching for us, but that's one that I do look at, given I don't really know what to do with the information, but
okay,
I do watch that one.
Right. So it sounds like a challenge for the teams is to figure out, okay, if we teach the museum how to do some basic ROI, then what do they do with that information? Gosh, nobody's opening our emails. Should we try a different picture? Is it because of the headline? So things like that. All right, so Megan will take question 12. 13. Amanda will take question 14, and then we'll open it up to open questions to end. So Megan, followed by Amanda.
Who do you think are the 2 top target audiences you're trying to reach on social media?
Parents in general, specifically, I think we're targeting young moms. And so that would be the primary, and I'd say the secondary is actually grandparents. Lots of grandparents bring their kids to the museum. Lots of grandparents buy their grandkids memberships. We do get lots of interaction with grandparents on Facebook. So young parents, although that is the bulk of our interaction is with women, probably like 25 to 40.
Military, socioeconomical status.
Military, there's a big piece there that we shoot for. That's a huge line of business for us, our young military families. So we have a lot of programs. We offer discounts for military families all summer long. It's free for military families at the museum. So we push that on social media. We don't push it too hard because it's a big loss for us. It's great to have the families come in the door, but there's a huge price tag on that for us all summer long.
It gets the place dirty.
Very dirty. It gets the place very
more
dirty.
Kids, more dirt.
And we run out of supplies. And we don't have the income then all summer to replenish them. So we want it to be known because it's also, we just got one, Dr. Nancy Cross. But so we try very, we want to still make it known because it's also, it's good PR that we're doing this free program. But we have, we're part of a program called Museums for All, which is a nationwide program where if you have a food stamps card from any state, we will offer admission of, it's $3 per person instead of $8 per person, which is a huge difference. And it's kind of a no questions asked. It doesn't matter if your card is up to date. I'm not going to ask to see your license. If you tell me you need to use this program, I'm going to say okay. And we try to advertise that program so that we're reaching a more diverse audience socioeconomically in Fairbanks, because we're really prime location right downtown. We started up at the Museum of the North, so that was a really inaccessible location, and now we're super accessible. So we try to push that, but it's challenging. We have some bus ads for that program as well. So that's an audience that we're trying to reach more successfully.
That's a lot. So we heard young moms, we heard grandparents, military, and lower economic status.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I put on here do you promote, and maybe you already do this, the subscription for a present for Christmas and birthday?
We do a sale around Thanksgiving.
Perfect.
And then we do a birthday sale in August, which we use radio ads for the birthday sale.
So explain these a little more.
The birthday sale is if you book now for any time, you get $25 off your booking, which the parties are $225. So we have a really, really cute ad that my predecessor's daughter made with Rocky at iHeartRadio. That's like her in her cute little kid voice being excited about a birthday party at the Children's Museum, and book between now and at the very end he has that. It's a birthday ad that then we tagged on the sale at the end of it. So we run that through August, and I don't know that it's particularly successful in terms of birthday ads, but it definitely is the Children's Museum on the radio in a cute way rather than just in PSAs a lot. And then the
Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Yeah, that membership sale is, I think it's staggered. So because we have different levels of membership for 3-month, a 6-month, or a year long. So I think it's if you do the 3 months, you get $5 off. You do the 6 months, $10 off. Year long, you get $20 off. And we run that, and that is definitely, we see a massive influx of memberships bought right then when we promote that in November.
Do you do any day pass stuff, like
we
discounts on
don't.
day passes? Okay.
No, we haven't ever done that. We have had it suggested to us to do giveaways on social media with day passes though, like contests or something, which we've never tried, but I do like the idea. because a day pass is for a family of up to 5, which is a pretty decent cash value.
Okay. Okay, so Amanda, last question, number 14.
Who are some new target audiences that Fairbanks Children's Museum would like to attract?
So it goes back to 13. The 2 audiences that I mentioned in 13 that I don't think we're doing a good job at attracting are military families. We have some that are like religiously come to the museum and love the museum and promote the museum, but it's only a few. Our percentage of attendees that are military is pretty low considering our location and proximity to a massive base with lots of families. And the lower socioeconomic groups in Fairbanks, I think that I would like to see our Museums for All program used a lot more. So that's sort of my indicator for how well we're reaching, which isn't necessarily the best indicator, but it's all I really have to go off of. And based off of those numbers, we're seeing, I should have brought some of these numbers with me. I think on average we see about 400 people every quarter, because that's how we report to Museums for All, which in the great, we see
Say that again,
about
please.
400, around 400 every quarter.
Using the Museums for All.
Using
program.
Museums for All,
Okay.
which our annual attendance is about 42,000 people. So that's a low number.
And that's not unique users, that's repeat.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, that is people coming in the door, and every time they come in the door,
Okay.
I'm tallying
That's
them
great.
again. So those are the two groups that we would like to have a better grasp on and target better on social media.
Can I take on to the military? Do you go on to post or to base to Emlendorf or Fort Wainwright and do any sort of in the welcome packs or?
So we go to spouse, which I think is monthly. So when there's large, I don't know any of the appropriate language for what I'm talking about. But when lots of people get stationed here, there's this thing called spouse to spouse that we go to, and we hand out passes for the families to come visit the museum. And we go on for outreach probably at least once a month. We go, because we have connections with people that work on base, that put on programming on base. And anybody that asks us to come do outreach, we do it. We do it for free. So we'll bring exhibits on base, we'll interact with families on base, hand out passes. And every time we do that, we interact with tons of families that say, I didn't know you existed. So anytime somebody says they didn't know we exist, we give them free passes. Like, well, come actually see us and then come back again and spend money.
So that's a tough one for social media, because if they're doing person to person, how do you grab the eyeballs of military families? So I'm not sure the answer there.
Does your physical pass have like a little Facebook or your social media links
Nope.
on, or like the name?
Nope.
Yeah,
Does
there you
not.
go. Yeah.
Sure doesn't.
Okay, we have about 10 minutes left. We're going to open it up to questions now that you've heard all this information from Meredith. So let's go online first and raise your hand if you have a question. Nate, do you have anything? Tressica, go ahead and unmute, ask your question.
Oh, I got one thing, Tammy.
Wait. Hold up. So Tressica, then Nate.
All right, so mine was kind of quick. I wanted to know what your usual email headline is.
It's usually a pun.
Okay. Like what?
Last one was it was a pun about leaves, but it's always it's a direct call to come into the museum. I can't remember what it was, with like unbelievable things to do at the FCM in November or something
Cute.
like that. I don't write them, but I do enjoy them.
Okay, Nate, you're up.
So touching back to the military you're talking with, have your contacts on Fort Wainwright, have you ever collaborated with them or whatever, and they've actually posted and shared your stuff, whether it's Fairbanks Children's Museum is coming to Fort Wainwright or anything like that on their on their
So I
social
know
platforms?
when they're putting on an event that they've invited us to, they frequently kind of, they don't usually put our logos on anything, but they'll say that the Children's Museum is going to be there. In terms of them like sharing our posts or sharing our flyers, the only thing that I've had any real success getting shared is the Blue Star program, the free admission program, the program that is hard for us to want to push so strongly, but we do. So that does get us new families coming in the door. Over the summer, we saw more new faces using the Blue Star program than we've ever seen. So it's working.
And there's so many on Fort Wayne, right? But what military programs are you working with? The USO or just the ones you mentioned earlier?
I don't know, actually. That's a really good question. I don't know who our contacts are associated with. Sometimes I know the school age program. Michael Campbell works over there in the school age program, and he's somebody I send things to. I know they have a PR person, Brady Gross, that I send some things to, but I don't know what specific programs they're associated with. My knowledge base there is pretty bad.
Let me quickly interject and say Michael Campbell's an influencer on social media, local influencer. So maybe that's a recommendation. And he would be glad to post stuff, and he knows how it works, and he knows how to tag.
He likes our
yeah. So maybe that's one of your strategies is to get a military influencer like Michael. Thank you, Nate. Anything else?
Yep.
Okay, and we'll
come back everything. Online. Thank you very much, Meredith.
Thank you.
We'll come back online. Let's come in the class really quick. Megan?
I was just wondering, so with your museums for all thing, is there like a membership version of it, or is it just
daily admission?
Okay.
Yeah. And we have lots of people that use it weekly that come in and make it, because paying for membership up front, even though it still might be a better deal, it's having that chunk of money up front.
Yeah.
Ben or Mary?
How much is your membership?
So the memberships range from $70 to $180. There's
per or family?
Family. So there's two different levels of family. We have our mascot is a woolly mammoth. That's important. Our mascot's a woolly mammoth. So we talk about that a lot. We sign everything Team Woolly and have programs that are based off of woolly mammoth.
Does Woolly have a name?
Woolly. Woolly is Wooly's
Woolly is the name.
Yes. We've got a big statue. It's a chicken wire statue in the museum that has it's a collaborative art project that kids can tie a string to give Woolly his winter coat. A massive woolly mammoth. So our memberships, we have Little Mammoth memberships, which are Little Mammoth families are 2 kids or less, and Big Mammoth families are 3 kids or more, and that's how it's broken down. So then each level has 3-month, 6-month, or year-long memberships. So the cheapest is a Little Mammoth 3-month at $70. The most expensive is a Big Mammoth year-long at $180. So, and that breaks down, it is really affordable. If you look at coming into the museum, especially for a Big Mammoth family that has 4 kids, you have to come in 5 times to get your money's worth for a whole year-long membership. So those that are into the memberships, people don't complain about that part, the membership costs.
All right, Laura, Kaylin, or Amanda, do you have questions? Raise your hand. No, says Amanda. Kaylin? No. Laura, we can't see you. Do you have any questions? Assuming not.
Sorry, no, I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Patty?
I have a question. In the video at the beginning of the semester, you mentioned the collaboration with the baseball team.
Yeah.
Can you remind us about that, or are you looking to collaborate with any other groups?
I think we're about to do it with the Ice Dogs too. So it was right after that. We had the baseball team brought in tickets to games, and the baseball team actually physically came to the museum and hung out with the kids. And our perception as the museum, we were like, man, there's really not a lot of people here. This isn't what we expected. Or it's not a good turnout for what we would want to see. But the baseball team was overjoyed about it. And Chris Capps from the News Miner came in and she wrote an article about how wonderful it was. So perception was totally different to everybody other than us. And we're going to do that again with the hockey team. We bring community members into the museum all the time. The biggest way that we do it, those are sort of fluke things where they have the time, they have a game they want to promote. What we do really consistently, they're called Super Saturdays. It's from 2 to 4 on Saturdays, only during the summer. And some community resource or agency comes into the museum and puts on kind of an event for 2 hours. We help them. They always bring activities.
Give us an example of one.
Fish and Wildlife will come in and they'll like bring an inflatable canoe and teach kids about safety on the water and wearing your life vest appropriately. And then you'll get to like do a rubbing of like to make like a painting of a fish. We do Day to Be a Doctor. That's our biggest one. TVC comes over. I guess it's not TVC technically anymore. It's FMH.
Fairbanks
Memorial or Foundation
Health Partners.
Yes.
FHP.
FHP. They come over and they set up these stations all over the museum where the kids bring in a stuffed animal and give their stuffed animal a checkup, but they learn about how shots aren't scary and why you need to brush your teeth. It's really, and that's probably one of our busiest events of the year. So we do those at least twice a month, all summer long, to get kids engaged with other people, and it brings people in. People get excited to get access to something that's not, Fish and Wildlife isn't really accessible to your 4-year-old unless it's at the Children's Museum. So,
in follow-up, do you then have like Fish and Wildlife Service post your event on their page?
So some of them do, some of them don't. We make the flyers available to them. Jessica designs a flyer every time with their logo, our logo, a breakdown of the timing, what events we expect there to be. More often than not, though, I don't see it shared very prevalently by those organizations.
You guys are aware that you could, it's sort of new, but we are famous for doing the @ and then you find Fish and Game and we'll pull up. And so you're there.
To actually tag them in our, yes, we
Okay.
try to do that frequently. That is something that we do.
And then you can also do shared event kind of thing where you
like put
invite them. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
You know
one
all
that
the tricks.
I don't know that we've been doing that one that's more if somebody asks, we'll do it.
I think you ask.
I know, for them to be a host.
Because it's only beneficial for both of you.
Yeah.
Ben has a question. Ben, and then we'll let Meredith wrap it up.
This is just a separate question, not to do with this, but from when you guys started using Facebook and Instagram, I don't know how long ago that was, but did you see a boost in sales or subscriptions, or like, would we know how to have any information from the past so far?
I'm new. I've been with the organization just going on 2 years, and it's existed in some capacity for about a decade now. I would imagine our social media presence is probably about 7 years old. There was definitely a social media presence before we moved into our physical building now, which is where how we sell everything now kind of was born with our physical location. Because we had these joint memberships with the Museum of the North. Everything was different before that. So I don't really have a good answer because of my knowledge of that data is pretty non-existent because it predates me. Yeah.
Okay, we're about a third of the way in the semester. Mm-hmm. They have 5 weeks that they've been working as a team out of 12 modules, 11 modules, something like that. So any tips? They've got an intense 3 weeks ahead of them as they're writing their social media plans. Any tips you want to give to your team or things you just make sure they want to cover?
A concrete, like a schedule. That's something that I think that we would really benefit from, because on one level there's, telling us the things we should be doing differently or the things that we should start doing that we're not already doing. That's really important. But then having our office is chaotic. And so having a really specific, I know it's all part of a plan, but a scheduled thing of you need to be hitting this type of post once a week or 4 times a week or whatever the case may be, that it's easy for us to turn that into a checklist, check a box, make sure then my education director is doing this work and is still accountable to me because I can see like, oh, well, these boxes didn't get checked. Like we didn't make these sorts of posts this week or this month. So having something, a really concrete, like it's all a plan, but a schedule of posts would be, or types of posts would be, I think, really beneficial for us and the chaotic work environment we are existing in.
Great. Encourage, there's going to be obvious things like Christmas, summer, spring break, but also go creative. And what else? Give them like a little pool of, let's do the 40-30-30 plan. So 40% of the posts are regarding Children's Museum. Come, do our event, da 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 da. 30% have to do with children, education, other events in town. The other 30% are just random whatever. It's National Pet Your Dog Day. It's Halloween, what costumes are you wearing? So give them some pools of content to pull from. So it's not only in October you must post this, but hey, when you get stuck, here's a list of some things that you can do. And then show some, you don't have to show for each one, but show them a variety or examples of what that looks like. She gets what Christmas looks like. They get it, but what would another one look like? And so see what some other people are doing out there to give them examples, because then it will get their creative juices thinking.
I know I never did. I was gonna send you a list of comparable museums that I never did.
Yeah, let's follow up with that.
But I can tell you the Tacoma Children's Museum is a really comparably sized museum that's doing things right.
Give us two others that you like recommend.
I am really into everything Portland Children's Museum does. It's much larger than us, so that has to be taken into consideration. They have a multi-million-dollar, yes. And what's one that's not massive? La Habra Children's Museum. That's in California. It's LAHABRA. I think that one's more comparable to our size. Tacoma's probably the closest to our size.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much. This is such an incredible experience having Nate from Spain and Tressica in her car where now it's dark, and Kaylin weathering a hurricane, or tornado. Just thank you so much. All team members were here, and that's pretty impressive. I will upload this recording probably tonight so that you can watch it and listen to it as much as you want. But thank you so much for everybody for coming through. Bye.
Thank you guys for helping us.
Let me stop the recording here.